Small Business Saturday here in very small town, Lampasas. I'm at Starbucks because I couldn't sleep last night and I was thinking about writing an email and kind of sharing more about like the closing of Live a Great Story and why I'm doing it, answering some of the questions. I've been doing all these calls with people from the Live a Great Story community. I've done like 30 calls with people so far about explaining all of this and thinking about it and going through this process and what it really means to close down the shop. And couldn't sleep last night. I was thinking about writing this email and I woke up thinking about it, so I left my family breakfast to come write this. And it really breaks down to a couple things when I've been explaining it to people and really like processing it all. Honestly, I've been thinking about what this means. Live a Great Story, when I first started it, I knew that the message was like impactful for people and that it was like, it made a big difference in my life. Like I loved it. As soon as I came up with it, I started writing in places, thinking about it. I spray painted it on the wall. People started taking photos. It became like a thing. And it was always like, how do I get this message out there? Like, how does this spread to as many people as possible? And in the beginning days, I tried like a lot of different stuff. For the first couple of years of Live a Great Story, it wasn't like a pure apparel brand, or I sold stickers and hats and shirts, but like not a lot of them. I tried to do a podcast back in like 2015. I tried to kind of build a YouTube. I was doing like an agency. I've literally tried everything with Live a Great Story from like a business perspective, just to like share the Live a Great Story message. And really around 2019, I started really leaning into like the business, e-commerce, apparel side. So I was like, people love Live a Great Story. They want to wear it. They want to give it to people. They want to put it on their water bottles. They want to take it on trips. So like, let's sell as many things with Live a Great Story as possible. And that's really been like the last 5 years of Live a Great Story, is selling shirts and stickers and flags and keychains and patches and tire covers and hats and pants and travel flags and lanyards. I mean, everything. Literally everything I've thought about. I'm like, I used to like walk around and always like look at stuff and be like, I could put Live a Great Story on that cool product. Let's make like a camp chair and put Live a Great Story on it, or let's, do this and that. And so for like the last 5 years, it's been all about putting Live a Great Story on as much cool merch as possible and then selling it so that people can use that message to spread it. But I realized that like there's a lot of business stuff that happens with that behind the scenes. So to be able to do that at scale and to grow that and to make it a real business, it takes a lot of behind the scenes work. And at a certain point, from the beginning, it wasn't really the goal. Like it wasn't a goal to start a business. The other day I talked to a friend of mine from San Diego who I like knew back when I started Live a Great Story a decade ago. And I was telling him, yeah, man, I'm closing the shop. And he goes, yeah, bro, you never wanted this to be a business. I just kind of laughed because I was like, man, it's so crazy that it like organically grew into a business. And it took the business to spread the message. Like if I wasn't thinking about it as a business, then people wouldn't have found Live a Great Story. They wouldn't have seen the ads. They wouldn't have seen the content. I wouldn't have been able to support myself financially through this to be able to keep moving it. And so it took really like 5 years or more of this being like a real business to spread that message. However, the business world is changing and a lot of things are evolving, and I'm changing and evolving too and growing into the next stage. And what I've realized that from a personal standpoint, I'm shutting down the shop because I don't want to run this as a business anymore. Like you've seen the shed, you've seen the shipping, you've seen the development of stuff, and it takes a lot to sell Live a Great Story. So I'm done selling it. So I'm clearing out the shop. This is like the final sale. And I want to turn it back from a business back into like an art project. I want to like have a side project. I want it to be fun. I want it to be creative. I want it to be a movement again. Not again, but I want it to be a new version of a movement where it's not so businessy. Like I've been explaining this like to people on these calls, like, I feel like I just love playing guitar, and I played guitar in my garage. This is an analogy, by the way. I'm terrible at music, but I love playing guitar, and I just played in my garage and I jammed, and eventually I was like, hey, I want to like record this, and I started recording it, and then I was like, hey, maybe I want to play in front of a crowd. So I started playing at coffee shops, and people were like, dude, you're a sick guitar player. And then they started buying my CDs, and I started doing bigger shows, and then I started doing bigger tours, and then it turned into a whole thing, and I was doing nationwide tours and selling out. And then eventually I got to this point where I just want to go back to like jamming in my garage. And that's really how it feels with Live a Great Story. It's like, I just want to spread this message, and then people started buying it and doing more stuff, and it started growing into bigger and bigger, and it changed. And I'm like, no, I just want to go back to like being an artist. And that's kind of this analogy that I've used, where I want to just go back to Live a Great Story being like an art project or like a creative side project where it cannot be so serious. I'm going to switch hands here because this is cheers. So I want to go back to like Live a Great Story being more of a side project and art. I want to become an artist again. I want to like take off the business hat and the sales and the product development and the marketing, and like I want to take all that off and go back to like the stress, like unstressifying it, playing in the garage. And so basically what that means is people are like, hey, is Live a Great Story going away? Is it shutting down? Is it like closing forever? And really, that's not what's happening. I'm closing the store, I'm shutting down the shed, and I'm not going to be developing new products. However, like a big part of this movement is the gear, and I am not going to stop selling stuff, but I'm going to stop selling it. And I want you to like, I don't want to sell Live a Great Story. I want people to buy it. So I'm not like trying to build this as a business. Of course, like the stickers are amazing. There's like millions of stickers out there. Like they're going to be available. You can send me an email. You can buy some stickers, but they're just not going to be available on the website. And I just don't want to be like so professional. I mean, like if you go to liveagreatstory.com, it looks like this is a huge business with lots of people, and it's like not. It's me in my garage trying to sell as much as possible. And I'm like, so I want to kind of go back to like the movement side. So like I'm still gonna make shirts every once in a while that I think are cool. Like I want to make a product that I think is cool, or the stickers, and probably like maybe some of the flags will be available every once in a while. Like if you ever need something, just like send me an email, because like those still inspire people like insane amounts, and I don't want to just like stop making those available just because I'm done with it. So I just want to go back to this being an art, and then I want to do cool art stuff with it. I don't want it to be businessy things, and like I said, I don't want to like sell you Live a Great Story, but I want to like host events, tell stories, be creative, like share stories about people, create experiences like the Kilimanjaro trip or more travel stuff. Like all that stuff I want to keep doing, but the business side has got to be too much. And so where that really leaves me for like right now is I'm pretty sure like January 1st is going to be the start of the new year. Probably December 31st is the last time you can buy Live a Great Story. I'm going to close down the shop. Everything will be sold out, and I'm going to take a long break with it and then see what happens. I don't think I'm going to sell Live a Great Story. There's a lot of people who want to buy it. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but it could turn into like some cool partnership stuff and some ways to do that. But I don't know. So this is kind of like a long rambling deal that I wanted to share an update on Small Business Saturday. And I'm like, no more small business. I kind of want to be a small business. I just want to be an art project. I don't want to monetize it. I don't want to have the stress of like making Live a Great Story support my lifestyle and like my life. Just want to have kind of some freedom. So this is me in front of the Starbucks on Small Business Saturday morning. Literally, I'm gonna go inside, upload this, and then go back to dinner with my fam. But thank you for being part of Live a Great Story. This is still like an unfolding. This is not the end of this conversation. I'm still trying to like explain this to others and also explain it to myself. So this is a 10-minute video explaining it that it's still taking me hours and hours and hours and days to figure out. But anyway, thanks for being part of this. Thanks for everything for the small business side of it. Let's still have fun. Let's still be creative. Still do cool stuff. Still inspire each other to live a great story. Let's do it in a new way. Cheers.